Hello and welcome to the WriteCome.com podcast, where we help you to make money from your words. Each episode will be sharing tips, tricks, and strategies you can use to make more money from your writing, publishing, and marketing to your fans and audience. Let's get started with your host, Barry J. McDonald.
Hi, this is Barry here, and you are very, very welcome to today's podcast episode from WriteCome.com. And today's podcast episode is entitled Automate, Delegate, Duplicate. Now, at the moment, I am pondering a question. It's a question I've been asking myself this past couple of weeks. It's been in the back of my mind, and it's been, how can I take myself out of the business I am in without it affecting my income? Now, unfortunately, a lot of us who are writers, self-publishers, and entrepreneurs have this kind of thing or a need or a feeling that we need to always be in our business. We always need to be there to, we're the web designer, we are the person who designs the book covers, we are the writer, we are the promoter, we're the person that's over the Facebook ads, and we have a lot of different departments that we're constantly jumping from one to the other because we don't like handing over responsibility to other people. Now, I would put myself in that group, in that for the longest time I had the stupidest kind of notion that if a job was going to be done, the only person that could do it right was me. And it's only when I have, stepped back sometimes and handed over little bits of my business to other people that I found that, sometimes you can find people who are far better at what you do than what you are. Even though I am somebody who has created a course on how to hire a ghostwriter, and how to guarantee that the book that you get on the other side is one that you're happy with, I still have used that system very, very rarely. I think I've only ever had two ghostwriters write books for me, because for whatever reason I feel that I need to be in control of everything. I need to be in control of the writing, I need to be in control of the book cover, I need to be in control of every step along the way. And as I said, unfortunately I have this, maybe the same as yourself, that we have this feeling that we need to control every part of it. And if we're not in control of every part of it, something can go wrong. The wrong book cover can go on, maybe the book can be written badly or whatever. But, that is a myth, or it's something that we kind of, a lie that we buy into, believing that nobody else can do our business better than us. When I did get ghostwriters to do my work, I did find on both occasions that the books came back were usually written better than I could have written myself. Even though I had probably given them the kind of bones of the story, sometimes I found that the story that came back from a ghostwriter was actually a better story than the one I had envisioned in my own mind. So what I've been thinking about this past couple of weeks, is there any way I can take myself out of the WriteCome business? Is there any way I can do that without losing income, without disappointing customers, and trying to maybe improve on my business? If we do have a look at some of the kind of major businesses online, take for example something like Jeff Bezos. Now, I assume when Jeff Bezos started off, I'm sure he was probably everything from the web designer to the bottle washer, so he done everything. But as the company got bigger, and probably as he spent more money or got investors to invest in the business and then paid out to different people to take on different roles, he kind of stepped back from everything. So there's somebody in probably Amazon here who's over marketing, somebody over sales, somebody over the web, there's somebody over this and that. So there's tons and tons of partners below him that is taking care of all the jobs that he probably could do, but maybe he's not talented enough to do, or maybe he hasn't got the experience, or he probably couldn't do it as well as other departments. But his business has thrived because he has handed over the reins to all different people to take over different portions of his business. So that's what I want to look at in this podcast episode. I want to look at how maybe you could automate, duplicate, or delegate some of your business to take some of the kind of stress off you, to maybe free up some time so that you can enjoy some free time with your family, whatever. You're not constantly writing your articles, or you're not over here building a website or a blog, or creating blog posts or whatever. You're not constantly running from one thing to the other. Maybe you could free up some time to maybe do something, or maybe you might find maybe there could be somebody that could actually do the job better than you could. So not only could you be freeing up your energy and everything, but you could actually maybe be delivering a better product, a better service or whatever, because you're handing it over to something else. So that's what I'm going to do at the moment in this episode, and it's something that I am doing at the moment on the WriteCome site. So these are a couple of things that I am having a look at in no particular order, and the first one is to automate. Now, at the moment, I am someone who does write a lot of emails. I have kind of fallen off the wagon a little bit by writing my daily emails, but for a couple of years, I was writing an email every single day. And I found, as the great Ben Settle had said many, many times, the more emails you send out to your list, the more money you actually make. Because you're showing up in your customers' inbox more regularly. Because the inbox nowadays is swamped with emails, it's very, very easy for you to send an email out once a week or once a month, and that email just to get completely lost. But if you show up regularly, if you show up daily, it does build a little bit of rapport. It does make your buyer or your customer feel that you're never too far away, and it feels them comforting. You almost feel like a part of their life because you're showing up on a regular basis. It's like watching, switching on the TV and having the same kind of presenter coming on your favorite show, or maybe listening to your favorite radio show where this DJ is coming up over and over and over again. So there's a kind of feeling of comfort in that the more times they show up, the more they kind of feel part of your family. So that's one thing I was good at, and as I said, I have got a little bit lazy this past couple of weeks. But what I'm going to do at the moment, I am going to try and automate as the Rightcom email system as much as possible. So what I'm doing at the moment is I am going back through my old emails, and what I'm doing is I'm picking the best ones out. Now, I don't have many, couple of hundred emails I've written by now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my best, maybe 365 emails, and what I'm going to do is I am going to set them up on autopilot in my MailChimp account. So what will happen is when somebody comes over to the Rightcom site, when they join my email list, what they are going to find is they are going to be on a mailing list that is going to have 365 pieces of content. So over the next 12 months or so, I will be contacting them on a daily basis, and I will be, promoting whatever product is in the list at the time. So it may be some of my self-publishing courses, it may be some of my fiction courses, it may be some of my promotion courses, or it may be some of the courses where I show people how to create their own courses. So what I'm going to do is I am going to automate the whole thing so that anybody coming over to the site is going to be put automatically on that list, and for the next 365 days they are going to be met with messages, sometimes motivational messages, sometimes maybe emails that I'm going to make them think, or maybe some emails that might be a little bit more kind of strongly worded and more kind of salesy to get people to buy my product. So that is going to free me up in that I'm not going to be having to worry about sending out a daily email. Now, I probably will still send out the odd email to the main list every so often, just to let everybody know I'm still there, or maybe promoting maybe some of the podcast episodes or things like that. So I will be around. It's not that I'm going to completely disappear off the scene, but I'm going to free myself up by not having to worry about my daily emails, because that is all going to be set up and automated on the system. So that's one thing I am going to do at the moment. Now, is there any way you can do the same yourself? Is there any way you could set up a series of emails where, somebody who lands on your website, if they download a free report or maybe your first fiction book, whatever, when they go onto an email list, is there any way you could automate that system where you could be contacting them over the next 10, 30, 60, 90 days, or maybe even having a year of content when you are reaching out to them on a daily basis, and you're mentioning maybe your other fiction book or maybe your other course or whatever it is, and that you're showing up there regularly, and it's all on autopilot. You don't need to be there. You're just paying your $10 or $15 to whatever autoresponder company is taking care of that, and that kind of lifts you out of having to deal with all those people. Or even thinking about, when it comes to customer service, is there any way you could automate some of that? So for example, maybe if somebody is going to send a message to you, could you maybe direct them to maybe some page on your blog that has kind of all the kind of major questions you've been asked over the time? Where is my product? How do I download my course? Or how do I get access to this? And you can direct them to maybe a page on your website or whatever that has all those details on it, so that you're not dealing with those customer service emails every so often, somebody complaining, how do I download a product? How do I open a zip file? Or how do I do that? Create a series maybe of videos or whatever on that web page, and then you can direct all the people over there. So you can have that maybe in your email that you send out to your customer after they have bought the product. You could have this, if you have such and such a problem, click on this link and I will send you over to, the page that sorts all them problems out for this. So maybe there's something you could do like that where you could automate it, you could take away some of those customer service emails that you do, or there could be some way, maybe as I said, you could set up some kind of series of emails that promotes all your future work. So in the weeks and months ahead, people will know of all the books you have, and then, if they want to buy them, whatever, they can buy them, but you don't have to show up on a daily basis to remind them about that. So that is one thing you could have a look at, is automating. Now, another thing then too is to delegate. As I said, delegation is something I have a problem with because, as I said, I have, I have this feeling that if I'm not in charge of everything, well, then everything isn't done to the best of ability. That book cover isn't going to be the best, that writing isn't going to be the best, whatever. So, as I said, I have had difficulty with that, and I'm slowly kind of releasing my fingers off the kind of my business, kind of stepping back a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a look at delegating things. So for example, maybe could you delegate some things, could you outsource some parts of your business so you could have somebody maybe doing your book covers, even something as simple as that. That could take maybe a lot of stress off you, because maybe you do spend a lot of time over on Canva and you're worried about, is this the right font, is this the right background, does this look right, how do I look it more professional? Unfortunately, for us maybe to create the most professional book cover, we'll probably have to put in a lot of weeks and maybe months and maybe years of experience, and we'll probably never ever be able to create a really, really good book cover. So even though Canva is really, really great to create a book cover, could you maybe go over to Fiverr or something like that and delegate and get somebody to do that work for you, for $5 or $10? That getting somebody to design that book cover for you could take a lot of stress and annoyance off you. Or again, to have a look at maybe ghostwriters. Is there any way maybe you can delegate some of your writing to a ghostwriter? Now, that doesn't mean you have to hand over all the kind of the full system over to them, or you have to get them to take charge of every part of a writing. But is there some way maybe you could give them the outline of a blog post? Is there, again, if you're someone who is in fiction, is there maybe some way you could hand over them the plot or the storyline for a book, tell them exactly what you want to happen in the book, and then allow them to fill out put the meat on the bones or the skeleton of that story, so that the book you do get back then is one that you're happy with. So is there any way you could do that, or is there any way maybe you could set up some kind of bots? Bots are really popular at the moment. Is there maybe some way you could put a piece of code on your website so that you have a bot maybe on your website? So if somebody comes to your website, maybe if they have a question like where do I go for such and such a thing, for example, even on the Rightcom site, because I have a lot of courses, some on fiction, some on low content books, I could set up a bot that when somebody comes to the page, when they go to the little chat bot, I could have a prompt there already, just saying to them, are you interested, or do you do fiction books? If you do, click on this link. If you are into self-publishing or low content books, click on this link. So when somebody does come to my bot, I can separate the conversation, I can drive the conversation one way or the other, depending on how that person's answered that first question. So if they say, well, I'm interested in fiction, well then I could put them onto some kind of mailing list for fiction, or I could advertise maybe a couple of my fiction products to them, storyline, plotting and stuff like that. Or maybe if they did answer and say they were interested in low content books, well then maybe I could direct the conversation a different way, and I could mention maybe some of my low content creation courses, maybe some of my puzzle books, my crossword books, or all those different things. I could mention them in that conversation. So is there some way maybe you can use a bot or something like that where you can automate some of the things, or even the customer service? You don't need to be there 24/7 on your website, but is there some way maybe you could set up a conversation in a bot that when somebody clicks on it, if they're having a problem, you can say to them, well, go over to such and such a page, all your problems are answered over here, or if you have this particular question, click on here, or if your download isn't working, click on here for the video to show you how to do it, or whatever. Or if you do need to respond to me or whatever, click on this link and it will send an email directly to my inbox. So in that way, then you are taking some of your customer services, some of that headache off you by delegating it. So is there any way you can delegate it through bots, through outsourcing, through ghostwriters or wherever, to take some of the work off you? And then finally, is there any way you can duplicate what you do? Now, for many of us, we probably don't really give much consideration to duplication, because we are working on a business of our own. We probably don't think, well, how can we actually duplicate this business? Now, this is something I have been taking over this past couple of days. How can I duplicate what I am doing? Now, to give you an idea of what I'm doing at the moment, it probably will come out in the next couple of days if you are on my list, and I probably will mention it maybe on the podcast as well too in the future. One of the things I am doing at the moment is I am duplicating my email list, or pardon me, my email messages. Now, what I mean by that is, what I'm doing at the moment is I am creating a report, hopefully where I will be able to put those 365 emails, my best emails, my content, or whatever. And what I'm going to do is I am going to create a Google Docs document with all of those. Now, what I'm going to do with that also is I am going to create a Word document or a PDF document with all those emails in it. But what I'm also going to do at the start of that document, I am going to say to anyone who buys this document or who downloads it, the first couple of pages I am going to set it up in that I am going to mention that if they would want to use my emails, what they can do is they can take the emails, use them as they are, they can slot them into an autoresponder, but I'm going to show them how they can also put my affiliate links for my products in those emails. So you will find some people maybe who know how great email is, but they maybe don't know how to write them, or maybe they want to find some way they can automate part of the system. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give them a report with 365 emails in it, and each of those emails can be used, and what the buyer can do, or the owner of the report can do, they can put one of my links to one of my products at the end of the email. So what I'm doing is basically I am taking my year's worth of emails, but somebody else can go ahead and then they can slot that into their autoresponder. So I could find then that my email list could be sent out maybe to 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, maybe even 1,000 people could be using my emails on a daily basis. So I will be getting in front of people that I will never ever be able to get in front of, and all of those people will be promoting my products because they will want a commission of my products, because what I'll do is I'm going to post all the links on the Warrior platform inside the report. So what they can do is they can sign up to be affiliate of my products. So all those emails are going to go out, and if their readers buy those products, they click on those links, well then they are going to make money from it, and there's no work they need to do at all. What they can do is basically do what I'm doing here and slotting in those 365 emails in their own autoresponder and then making money from autopilot. So again, they will get 50% or whatever on my products, but I'm getting 50% on sales from email lists that I'm not even emailing out to. So that's one way I'm doing it. I'm duplicating my whole email system that somebody else can use it, that they can make money off it, but that I'm also making money off it at the same time. So what I want you to do is think about your business. Is there any way you can take yourself out of your business? A lot of us, as I said, sometimes have a problem, releasing our business and stepping back from. But as I said, anybody who has big businesses like the Jeff Bezos and all that, they have all departments that deal with all those different things, and a lot of those departments are probably dealing with those things a lot better than he could, and that's what's freeing him up and allowing him to maybe grow, direct the business in a certain way because he's got free time to do it, or maybe he's got more free time to see his family or go on these Caribbean trips or fly around in jets or yachts or whatever Jeff Bezos is doing at the moment. So this is going to free him up. So what I want you to do is think along the same lines. Is there any way you can step back from your business? Is there any way you can automate your business? Any way you can delegate your business? Any way you can duplicate your business and make money on autopilot? So as always, I hope that's helped somebody out, and as I said, you probably will hear more information about this report that I'm going to give out with all the emails in it. So if you do ever want to set your own business like mine up on autopilot, where you basically just slot all the emails in, keep tuned, because I probably will mention that in a few days time, and I'll show you exactly where to get that report. So as always, I hope this has helped somebody out. I hope maybe it will inspire you maybe to maybe take on an action maybe you never ever thought before. So is there any way you can take yourself out of your business? So as always, if you'd like to reach out to me, if you'd like to share any thoughts, or if you'd like to pass a comment or whatever, you're very, very welcome to send an email to Barry, jmcdonald@gmail.com. And if there's any social media buttons nearby, if you find this episode inspiring, if you thought maybe somebody else might like to hear it, feel free to hit the share buttons. And as always, if you'd like to find more of the Great Rightcome content, you can find it over on the site. That's writecome.com, or you'll find it in iTunes, the blog posts, Facebook, or whatever. You'll find the content all over the web. And as always, thanks for sharing your time again today. Take care and have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us today. If you'd like more from the Rightcome.com podcast, be sure to subscribe now for more tips, tricks, and ideas you can use to make more money from your words. See you in the next episode.